everyone. Welcome to the video. My name's Emily, and this is my mom, Nancy.
Hi.
And we decided we wanted to. Well, it was Mom's idea. We decided we wanted to start like a podcast video sort of thing, talking about
my weight loss journey.
Mom's weight loss journey.
And it's been a long one.
We haven't quite figured out an intro, so this is us just figuring that out.
This is our intro.
This is our intro. So, okay. Where would you like to start?
Well, I was born.
I was born in a small town.
Actually, I would like to start at that point because it's relevant. When I was born 68 years ago, I weighed almost 11 pounds. When my mother gave birth to me. Poor woman. And I was overweight as a child, always, until I hit puberty and lost the baby fat. And I stayed at an average, what is normal weight
in the 60s
for until I was 18.
Yeah.
At that point, I left home.
Right.
I moved far away from home. Started living with my husband. Didn't know anything about being on my own.
Well, because Granny, all she did when she cooked, even up till she died, was grease, fat.
Well, okay, yeah, that's another thing.
Fried.
I came from Florida, or I grew up in Florida, and came from, not from, I came from a country family.
Yeah.
And we ate fried chicken, white rice with homemade chicken gravy.
Yeah.
And it's literally made with grease, flour, and water.
Yeah.
And I ate that way my whole life. I mean, when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So, everyone in my family, including extended family, almost everyone was overweight.
Yeah.
And it was just, that's the way we were, that's the way we lived, So that's basically the background.
Yeah.
When I started living on my own, or living with my husband, I didn't know anything about cooking. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I was under a lot of stress. We were going to university.
Well, and taking care of someone who
my husband was disabled.
Yeah, so that doesn't help.
So I was under a lot of stress, and I'm not saying that that's the reason I kept gaining weight. It's just a factor. Yeah. So, fast forward to getting pregnant with you. It was later in life. I was 35. Of course, that's not later in life nowadays, but then it was.
Nowadays, it's still even considered a geriatric pregnancy at 35.
Okay.
So,
yeah, and that was, for me, the actual pregnancy. I loved being pregnant. It was a disaster for my weight. I literally gained like 65 pounds when I was pregnant. And kept it on after.
Yeah.
And slowly added to it.
Over time.
So that by the time, I started toying with the idea of weight loss surgery.
Oh man.
Probably when you were 5 or 6 years old.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That far back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was already 300 pounds.
Yeah, I just don't remember you vocalizing anything about it until I was a teenager.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't. And I always, back then it was a matter of couldn't afford it because insurance didn't pay for it.
No, and it depends on where you live now. Like, you were talking to your sister, Betty Ann, the other day, or a couple months ago, and her insurance sum in Florida won't cover it.
Yeah. we're fortunate that we live in Massachusetts, and we have great, because of my age and because of my income, I have great free health care, completely free health care. It's amazing.
Anyway, sidetrack.
Anyway, I had toyed around with the idea of weight loss surgery, and it was, it's daunting. It's a huge step, and I was afraid of it, and afraid of what the realities of that would be for me in terms of, because you think, well, you can't eat normally anymore, and social situations are like centered around eating, and I was afraid.
Yeah, understandably.
And I went into it and backed out of it, and went into it and backed out of it, until I had reached about 360 pounds. And I saw a picture of myself one day, and I was just like, okay, it doesn't matter anymore. I have to do this. It doesn't even matter if I die.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a good life.
Yeah, because there was a picture of you sitting next to my boyfriend.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be involved in this, so I'm not going to say his name. And he, at that point, he's 5'9", and he was sitting at 160 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like,
and I weighed 200 pounds more than he did.
yeah.
And I just.
And you're 5'3", 2?
Yeah, 5'3".
Yeah.
And while I have seen pictures of myself, although there aren't a lot of them before, it just, that for some reason that struck me, and I just decided, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to let anybody talk me out of it, because I had let people talk me out of it before.
Yeah. Because I wasn't comfortable with the idea. It scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
because it's major surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to do it. I found what I thought was the best team.
They were great.
And they are great. I used South Coast Health Services, and went to the office in Fall River, Massachusetts, and they were amazing and awesome and super supportive. They've got a really good program. And so I had started seeing them, begun the process. You've got to get the approval from the insurance.
Like you got to take the class, and you got to get them in.
Yeah, they make you see a psychiatrist. You do nutritional counseling. I mean, it's a whole program. And then that was in December of 2020.
Yeah.
No, 2019.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah, and so everything kind of got screwy.
They weren't doing the surgery.
Yeah, no, because it's technically an elective surgery.
Yeah.
So
that put it off for a whole year. Then they started doing the surgery again in January, I believe, of 2021. So we started the process. Well, let me back up a little bit. During 2020,
you were in communication with the doctors you
needed. And one of the things that they encourage you to do is to lose weight if you can.
It depends on the program, but they can encourage you to lose 10%.
Oh, I don't know what the percentage is, and they never told me I had to lose a certain amount. They just said try to lose as much weight as you can, because it's easier on you during surgery. So
the more weight you can lose before surgery, the less risk there is.
Yeah.
And it'll show the team that you have the solid intention of continuing to try and lose the weight.
I guess that's their reasoning. I don't know.
It's a combination of the stuff.
It's all people always say, well, if I could lose the weight, I wouldn't need the surgery. Well, that's true.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you should stop trying while trying to wait for the surgery.
Yeah. And maybe I should put this at the beginning. I don't have any issue with people who are big and they're happy.
Absolutely not.
And they're healthy, and I'm not trying to I don't body shame anybody. I don't have any issue. with people who are overweight
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it.
Because there
For
can,
me, it was
yeah.
my health.
Yeah, because
You know.
there can be any combination of health issues, you know, that
Well,
are causing them to gain the weight.
And
you know,
might just like yourself that way.
Who knows?
I mean, a lot of people do. You know.
Yeah.
So, having said that, my issue was health. I was on 3 types of blood pressure medication, hypertension medication. I was pre-diabetic. I was on metformin and what's that other stuff? Trulicity.
Yeah.
I had to give myself shots in the stomach once a week because of the diabetes, pre-diabetes. I was on a statin for cholesterol, and I was on medication for acid reflux. So, and some other stuff. So I was taking a lot of medicine, and my health was badly compromised. In 2018, I suffered a bilateral pulmonary embolisms, and I was hospitalized for 3 weeks while they tried to dissolve the blood clots. And talk about scary, that, you know.
And later you found out that they were right by your heart too, which is even scarier.
Yeah. So I mean, it was 3 weeks of
scary.
Basically sitting there hoping that I didn't die.
Yeah.
You know. January of 2021, they started doing the surgeries again, and I was scheduled for June 29th of 2021. During that period, that 6 months leading up to the surgery, I managed to lose 40 pounds on my own.
Yeah.
So when the day of the surgery, I weighed 323 pounds. I'm just going to go through my weight loss, the dates and stuff. So June 29th, 323 pounds. And that was a weight loss of 45 pounds to start with. By July 9th, I was 310, which is a weight loss of 58 pounds. July 21st, I was 302, which is a weight loss of 66. September 17th, I was 271, which is a weight loss of, what is that, 92? 92 or 97, I can't read my writing.
You scribbled, so it's like 92 or 97.
6 months after the surgery, exactly, I was down 100 pounds from the date of the surgery for a total of 138. A year after the surgery, I had lost 181 pounds, and as of last month, I was 163 pounds for a total loss of 205 pounds.
And that was a start weight of 368.
Yeah.
So
needless to say, the surgery for me has been very successful. It was the tool I was missing to allow me to be successfthis. You know, I don't have any excuses. I don't want to go into all the reasons that I was overweight. I had this is a good amount of weight loss. It's above, you know, what people usually expect to lose. And the reason I was so successful, I think, is because I felt like I've been given a gift, and this tool was what I needed to be successful losing weight and being more healthy.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I have literally let someone cut into me, rearrange my intestines and my stomach, and I'm not going to let that go to waste.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through this again. I'm not going to, you know.
The surgery, the recovery was like, ugh.
Yeah. It was, well, it wasn't. I mean,
well, the most frustrating part, it seemed like, for you was like they have to fill up the stomach with air to be able to like
that
get
part.
in there and move. Oh man,
It's like well, first of all, excuse me, but you're farting like
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
for days. And like even just drinking water, it creates all this foam, and you're like burping, and it's this foam stuff. It's really disgusting. And that lasted for like a week.
Yeah, because your body's trying to get out all the air that they had to pump into the cavity to.
So that first part was pretty disgusting. I have to say, I didn't have hardly any pain with the surgery because it's done laparoscopically.
Words.
There's like 5 incisions that they make, and they're tiny, like tiny, half-inch.
Mm-hmm.
No stitches. They glue them back together. So that part of the surgery was great. It was not physically uncomfortable in that way. We thought that maybe we could answer some questions that people might have who are thinking about doing the weight loss surgery.
And we had just jotted down some questions that Mom would have had before her surgery, so it's a kind of our starting guideline.
Yeah. I already discussed how hard the surgery was. It was a breeze, honestly. For me, the actual surgery itself was not difficult. It was not painful. I recovered very quickly, What's it like not to eat? Truthfully, I have to say that when I had the surgery, it was kind of like a switch flipped for me. And I started looking at food differently. Like I mentioned before, I had invested all of this energy and work into committing to the surgery and let somebody cut into me and do all that stuff. And it was like I wanted to have a new relationship with food. I know that's cliche, but it's true. And I didn't look at food the same way. It wasn't, because I felt like I was addicted to food before.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that way like immediately after the surgery. Oh, I should say that the day of the surgery, I was taken off 6 medications, the pre-diabetic medications, the 3 hypertension medications, and the acid reflux. They just stopped
They just stopped it.
And I was like, really? And they were like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been a year and 8 months since the surgery. I've not had a high blood pressure reading since then. In fact, I have low blood pressure sometimes. And my AC1 and my blood sugar and all that stuff is perfectly normal. So
out of the danger zone for
yeah,
that stuff.
So that was great. Long-term side effects. I have had some issues with some digestive issues. And this isn't everybody, this is just me. I've had some stomach pain that felt a little bit like, I don't know, if you've ever had a gallbladder attack, it's really super painful. It felt a little bit like that. I've had nausea off and on.
And constipation is a common issue with this surgery. But because of the pain medication you're on, that was kind of already an issue.
Yeah, I have chronic back and neck pain from the abuse that my body took while I was 300 plus pounds. My spine is like compressed, and
it's mush.
I have spinal stenosis really bad. And have to use a walker. Which I was hoping I could get out of after I lost the weight, but the back pain is still too severe.
Right.
So, but anyway.
And you've been having while you're not pre-diabetic anymore, you have been having those random blood sugar drops when you eat certain types of.
If I eat sugar or combination of sugar and white flour, it's like baked goods, particularly cake, like a birthday cake, knocks me right out. And I will I'll have
And certain types
a
of
blood sugar drop.
and certain types of alternative sweeteners will do that to you too. It seems like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're still figuring that out.
I looked that up this morning, and that's actually not a side effect. So I'm, Anyway, yeah, I have blood sugar drops, and I get really shaky, and it's just like I have to eat a piece of fruit or something just to get my blood sugar back up. So that's sort of an ongoing concern.
Yeah.
There's, let me talk about best thing about the surgery and worst thing about the surgery. Best thing I have to say is my feelings about myself and my self-confidence.
And your self-worth.
I hesitate to use self-worth. It's more like my faith in myself and my ability to have control over my life.
Yeah.
I feel I have that back.
Right.
There were so many years that I felt I'll just sink back into the background. Nobody's gonna notice me. I've got all of this weight, sort of cushioning me from everybody and everything, And I really lost all my self-confidence and feelings of control over my life. And I have that back to a great extent, and I feel really positive about myself, and I feel my self-worth is for me is more, and not because I'm not big anymore, but because I have more confidence in myself.
Well, and you've been able to do things that you weren't able to do before, like kayaking this past summer.
Yeah. Although it did take 3 people to get me in and out of the kayak because of my back.
But still.
I literally got into a kayak for the first time in my life and paddled around the pond. And that was like, that feeling of freedom was amazing.
And that was about a year after your surgery.
Yeah.
A year and a month after your surgery.
Yeah. So that was great.
So yes, little things like that.
Yeah.
Even if you do need help getting in and out, you were able to do it.
Right. And being able to fit in an airplane seat.
Yeah.
Being able to fit in a theater seat.
Yeah.
Being able to buy clothes
at Savers.
Right? This is something that people need to think about. If you're a big person and you have clothes that you don't want anymore, donate them, because the thrift stores
they never have
clothing for big people.
And if you're a skinny ass person who likes to thrift and redo clothes, don't take the fat people clothes and redo them, because we need them.
Yeah. That's just a little side, but just being able to buy clothes is fun. For years I lived in Walmart t-shirts and stretch pans, and that's literally all I owned.
Not that we still don't get that stuff, but you can wear more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are some of the, and the other best part is that my health is so much better.
Yeah.
It's truly a blessing. I feel like I went from feeling that I had maybe a few years to live to looking forward to, hey, maybe I got another 20 years, 30 years,
Yeah.
And that's huge.
It is.
That's
huge. Definitely awesome.
Worst part about the surgery, the skin.
Oh yeah, the skin.
The extra skin. It's, even though, I weigh 163, and I talked to the doctor about this because there's a lot of sagging, a lot of extra skin, and she said, I was like, I'm only 5'3", so I'm still technically overweight.
Yeah.
And she was like, you have at least 20 pounds of skin there that, could be removed, if I could afford it.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation, is getting the insurance to cover it.
So that's one of the worst things. It's not that it's a real problem. It doesn't look good.
Mm-mm.
And it's uncomfortable, and you have,
Yeah.
there's certain things you have to deal with, staying clean and all that stuff
Right.
is more of a challenge when you have skin folds.
Well, socially, how do you feel like not being able to eat as much as the quote average person? Like
It's
socially speaking.
it doesn't bother me a bit. I went out to lunch yesterday with a friend, and we went to the Brick Pizzeria, and I ordered, how their pizzas are like.
They're like
not
personal
huge,
pizzas,
right?
like 10, 12 inches.
And I ate 2 slices of that, and I could barely move. I was so full.
Yeah.
And she was laughing. She's like, you're a cheap date.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I am. But it doesn't bother me a bit. I order a meal and I take home what I don't eat, and I've got 2 more meals.
Yeah.
So for me, it's good.
And I understand for a lot of people that being able to like keep up with how much everybody else eats. You don't have to keep up with how much everybody else eats.
Yeah, it's funny. In fact, I kind of look at how much people eat, and the fact that I have pretty much stopped losing weight at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm eating normal amounts, and I look at how much other people eat, and I'm like, wow,
where are you putting all that?
Americans eat a lot of food, so yeah, I feel fine about that part of it.
Yeah.
I feel much more comfortable going out in public. There was a lot of times that when I was bigger, I would opt to stay home, just because I knew I would be. When you're over 300 pounds, and you go to someone's home and they have like these ordinary kitchen chairs, you literally hesitate to sit in them
because it's like, am I going to break it?
Am I going to break that chair?
Yeah.
And not having to worry about things like that makes it a lot easier to go out in public.
Yeah.
Like I said, sitting in theater seats or sitting on an airplane seat is, I'll never forget.
Oh man.
When we were super fortunate and were able to go to Scotland
back in 2014.
Yeah. And I literally, I was big then, and I got on the plane and I chose a window seat, and I made Emily sit beside me so that nobody else would have to deal with me and my size. And I literally sat on that plane for 8 hours without getting up and going to the bathroom because
it was too difficult.
I couldn't get out of the seat without everybody getting up.
And there was no way you could have fit in the lavatory.
Well, and getting down the aisle of the airplane was hard. I would have brushed up and bumped against everyone.
Well, currently I'm at 190, and I've been this weight while flying before, and even at this weight, you can't help but be like, oh sorry,
right,
sorry, walking, and even at this weight, sitting in those lavatories, you're like, eat.
And while maybe that shouldn't have been a concern for me, and that was all on me and my own self-consciousness and stuff, that was the reality for me. And that was really uncomfortable. And now I feel like I'm free to do things that I wouldn't have done before. Yeah, so I guess I think that's all I have to say right now.
For now.
If anybody has questions, are we going to put on comments on this or not?
It's up to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the doobly-doo.
Yeah.
Or leave them underneath in the comments.
Please don't be mean. We're nice people.
If you are mean, your comment will be deleted.
Yeah.
And you will be blocked.
I know that social media is a cruel thing sometimes.
Yeah.
I hope this gave a little bit of information if anybody was looking for information. Like I said, if you have questions and I might be able to answer them, I'd be happy to. or share more of my experiences or my life story or whatever. It's been an interesting one.
It's been an interesting, yeah.
Very interesting. So yeah, that's about it for now. So.
And I'm not sure if we'll be putting it after this video or in a separate video, but we'll post a progress video, so to speak, of before surgery till now.
Yeah.
So
maybe let's put it here and separately.
And okay, we'll have it at the after this and as a separate video.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Thank you, 10-4.
Bye.
Bye.